Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for this instructional webinar. This is a little bit different than our virtual workshops that we do. What it's basically gonna be is that I will be talking to you step by step of how to do one of our programs from TechGirlz, designing mobile apps. This is going to have some pauses to kind of reflect a little bit about the lesson. It will have a built-in time just to kind of take a break, but also this will be available later on a link that you will get after this webinar. And then that way you can stop and go as you please as you go through our program. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Sarah Neiman. I am the Chicagoland Outreach for TechGirlz. I am a former Chicago teacher and taught about 7 years of social studies for 6th through 8th grade. So obviously I have some tech experience like Google Classroom, and that's about it. But I was able to learn different tech programs by teaching these TechGirlz curriculum, and I love volunteering, but also I help coordinate with companies, schools, and organizations and individual volunteers to bring in-person workshops. And what's really great is that we started virtual workshops and webinars to keep families and girls engaged during this time. So yeah, I really wanted to inspire girls in education. I think education is a great tool and is necessary to grow and expand as an individual. So I wanted to continue the field of education, but just in a different way. And that's how I kind of got involved with TechGirlz. So an icebreaker is just basically thinking to yourself. Obviously, if you were in person, we would talk more about this, but just want you to take a second to think about what your favorite app is and why. So obviously there are a ton of apps out there for various reasons. I think apps are really cool because they're supposed to make your life easier, make you more organized, keep your schedule in order, but they also do fun and entertaining things as well. So when I think of a mobile app that is really something that I love, I would say Instagram. Why do I love Instagram? Mainly because it is a format where I can share photos, it's where I can find photos, and I actually have a bunch of different tattoos. So I often go on Instagram and really look at different reviews of tattoo artists, get different tattoo ideas. And I love to read people's comments, and if I'm looking for some kind of product or something that I want to buy, I like that you can follow someone and get their perspective on it. So that's why I love Instagram. This is really hard because I use a lot of different apps, but I chose Instagram. So what do you need today? Really all you need today is a computer with Wi-Fi. You will need to grab a piece of paper or something that you can use to brainstorm. You can also print out these iPhone wireframing template. You can find it linked here as well, but it will ask us if we want to proceed. We do. What this looks like is really cool because it's a document, and if you just go to Google, you can look it up as well, iPhone wireframing template. And it basically looks like a blank iPhone. So if I were to pick up my iPhone, I know it's kind of hard to see right now with my virtual background, but if I were to show you that, it looks similar to what an iPhone would look like. You can have that printed out. You can download it onto your computer, whatever is easiest. You might need a phone or a table to upload sketches if you do decide to do hand drawings that will later upload into the Marvel app. You can use Word or Google Docs to type out brainstorming ideas. I find it easier just to kind of have in one place, but sketching is also something that might be easier to do instead of having so many things open. You can use Paint or other apps to sketch out ideas if that's something else that you're interested in. But really all you need is a computer with Wi-Fi and something to either write on or type on. So the creating process for thinking of mobile app design There are many different steps before you actually have a final app. I think it's really important to note that designers in any fashion or form are going to brainstorm. Just like when you write something, you want to brainstorm. There are many different steps. The first one really is wireframing. And this is examples of low fidelity wireframing. Basically what that means is that it's an easier stage to make changes, especially with sketches or brainstorming versus high fidelity design. High fidelity design can be basically like it's perfect and it's ready to go. So we're really working on low fidelity design using wireframes, using brainstorming, and then eventually making a prototype. So today we'll be brainstorming, wireframing. This is a click-through version of creating your own app. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is brainstorming your app. Really think about what features will your app have? What will you call this app? You can definitely sketch out a logo. Sometimes in mobile app development, we think of what other similar apps are out there on the market to see what users like and don't like, and that's called competitive analysis. Now really think about, is there a current app that you would like to improve upon? This is really the first step of brainstorming. For example, maybe a take one app would be like a movie making app that lets you edit and share videos. Its logo can be a red star inside a reel of film. So I'm gonna kind of go through how I started brainstorming my app and what that looks like. So when we're brainstorming our mobile app, I just made a chart. You can make a list, you could type out your list on a Word document, you could just jot it down on a piece of paper, wherever you are keeping your notes for this activity, whatever works best for you. So I'm a typer, so I actually typed this out. I made a little chart. So what am I completing here? I'm completing what's the function of my app, what are the features of my app, and I need 3. What's my app name, which I thought was pretty creative, and then my logo for my app. So here's my example. My example is going to be a clothing app. My 3 features, meaning like, what are the 3 functions of this app? Like that's going to bring people in. It tailors towards the user. So my clothing app will be different versus my friend's app because they have different preferences to their clothing. There's going to be featured sales, and it connects directly to the store. So if I see something on my app and I'm interested in it, I can click on it and get directly brought to the store that you can purchase it from. The logo for the app, I came up with this because of my app name. So thank you, Next. Yes, thank you, Ariana Grande, for that. I made this logo design actually on Paint. So if you are on the computer and you're like, hey, I want to learn how to do that, I can show you right now. So how to make a logo on Paint. If you have any type of computer, really, you should have a Paint app. So what you're going to do is that you're just going to go into your search bar or your program bar and just pull up, it's literally called Paint. So when I do that, you might find something like this. Give me a second here. Gotta zoom in. There we go. So the cool thing about Paint, I'm familiar with it because growing up, this is literally the only thing that was on a computer back in the day. But you can do basically anything you want to do. You can change the brushes out. Let's say I want to write my initial, which is Sarah. So that's going to be my logo. Let's say I want to change the colors. I can do that as well. Now, obviously, you see a lot of white in this. And that's because it's on basically like it would be a canvas, but it's on a computer form. So what you can do, you can actually go to the corner and bring that in as far as you want. So maybe I want it like that. I can resize it also using the resize. I can crop it out. I can select all. That's the whole thing. But you can play around with this and kind of figure out what you like. Let's say you want this S, but you don't want all this. You can also bring it in. Move that over. There you go. So what you want to do is that you want to save this to your computer. I would save it as a PNG picture, or JPEG is fine too. But I'm going to save it onto my computer. Make sure you can find it. Let's just put logo 2. And then once I go back to my computer, later on I can find it and actually upload it, which is great. Okay, so I'm back to my PowerPoint. I showed you how you can make a logo with paint. Next, I'm going to talk about user journey. User journey is really just a term that has to talk about what's it like for your user of your app or of your design. So when we work on a big project, we create what we know as personas, and I'll go over this on the next slide. But you want to think about these questions. Why would a user need or want this app? Remember, when you're creating an app, you're trying to alleviate or get rid of some kind of problem that somebody is having. You want to make it easier for them. So you want to ensure that your app is doing that. And how would this make their lives better? Going back to the fact that you don't want to create something that has already been done before. Been there, done that, right? So you want to make sure that you're creating something creative, maybe improving upon something that's already been created, but there should be something that's different about your app. So back to user journey. When we work on a big project, we create what we know as personas. So these are essentially profiles that contain some of the attributes of our users. So for today, I want you to think about the type of user that would be most common. How old are they? What hobbies do they have? What problems do they have? And what other types of apps do you think this user would have? So we're going to go over an example of a persona or a profile of an individual, and we're going to start to think about what might this person like? All right, so here's Joe. And no, it's not Joe from that one Netflix show. So Joe, if I'm looking at this, I don't know, what do your eyes get drawn to? I think my eyes get drawn to, what is he watching? Currently on Netflix, he's watching Stranger Things, which I'm sure many of you love. It usually recommends House of Cards. So, that's interesting. So he's into Stranger Things, but he's in a House of Cards, which I know is from like politics, I think. Maybe I do need to do more research on this so I can understand what he likes. What other things stick out to you? Well, I know he's 33. He's an engineer. Cool. He's married. He lives in Philadelphia. He's interested in race cars and video games. Okay. He is a binge watcher, so he loves to watch TV. Now, what's interesting here is that they give a little bio, a relationship with brand. Ooh, this might be interesting because we want to think of these 3 questions on the top. Why would a user need or want this app? What pain point does it solve for them? And how would this make their lives better? So thinking about this, Netflix user for 6 years, watches 7 hours a week. Wow, he's got a lot of time on his hands. Watches after work with his wife. Okay, loves to binge watch new shows that are suspenseful, especially Netflix originals. So he's really dedicated to Netflix. So what type of things do we think about this young gent here? He likes to relax, right? And he likes to catch up on some shows. So an app for him might be organizing his shows, maybe? Maybe designing one place where it's all right there for him. If I'm designing an app that has to do with certain shows from various streaming, so maybe Hulu and Amazon Prime and Disney, maybe I want to make an app that gives him all these different suggestions, right? That might be a good idea. So yeah, you want to make sure to use these types of personas to really think about what your user wants, what your user needs, what will make them more happy, what would make their lives better. So let's stop here and really think about some of the things that we've talked about. So I want you to think about, what is wireframing? Another important topic is, what is user journey? And lastly, how can we use user journey to help us make apps? So wireframing, once again, is really low fidelity. Low fidelity is just sketching out your ideas, brainstorming your ideas, getting them all out maybe on paper or some brainstorming app or drawing app on your computer to let, the brain flow a little bit. Versus user journey and user flow, which is definitely a little bit different. So user journey is thinking about how that user is going to experience your app. What do they need, right? And this goes into our third question. How can we use user journey to help us make apps? Well, using certain personas and profiles that can help us design apps that would definitely be beneficial to different people based off their profiles. And we can streamline different things using their profiles and find different apps that would be beneficial to them. All right, so we did our checkpoint. What have we done so far? We've done quite a lot, actually. So we've defined wireframing, we've defined user flow and user journey, and we started brainstorming our app. Very cool. So you should already have that written out either on a piece of paper, maybe you have it typed out, then we are ready to go. All right, so creating user flow is the next part. So user flow, remember, is thinking of more like a decision tree when you are mapping it out. So you want to think about where your user is going to start, what would happen if they click on other buttons or other screens, where they go, and you're going to be drawing little boxes for each major screen and include a few bullet points about what would be on that screen. So if you take a look at the left, I actually wrote this out, and I'll show you how this gets translated into the computer version. But when you're creating your flow, you are trying to figure out what is the main function, and you should already have that down from your previous brainstorming. How will the users interact with the app? Go back to thinking about personas and where they will start and end in the app. And then what are their choices? So for instance, my example here for my shopping app, they're gonna begin at the shopping app. And you see I scribbled because as we're brainstorming, we change our minds sometimes, and that's quite okay. So once you start at the shopping app, you're actually gonna be, hence the arrow, going to the home page. Now the home page has a lot of different things on it. It'll have a login, it'll have a become a partner, which obviously starting up as a new app, you wanna think about, how can I get people to support us and maybe give us some money so we can keep creating these apps? Just something to think about. Once they click login, they're either gonna go to sign up because they may not have access to this before, or they can take a personality quiz. So let's say they signed up, okay, cool. They go to take a personality quiz. I would even go back and fix this a little bit so that they can't take a personality quiz unless they sign up. So going back and forth here, making sure that that is clear. When they take a personality quiz, then they're going to be asked a question. They're going to be asked another question, and another question, and another question until they get the results. This should say custom page. So once they get the results, they will get a custom page for shopping and different items on that shopping page. And hence your other arrow, types of clothing suggested. So as you can see, there's a lot of arrows going back and forth. The other thing that the user might see is a become a partner button where they can click on, where they can donate, or they can contact us, which is really cool because I put them back to the homepage once they've done these things. So once again, when you are creating your user flow, really think of it like a decision tree. What happens if I go here or touch this button or touch this button? And I want to show you how I did this more in a Word document. So this is literally the same thing that I created here, but now I just did it in a Word document. And I can show you how to do that in a second. But same thing, starting at, goes to homepage. Homepage could also go to login, and so on and so on. So just like a family tree or something like that, where somebody's above you, they created this family. It's similar in the sense that what happens when you do this? Okay, what happens when you click on this? What are they going to have options-wise to go on to the next part of your app? So let's say you want to do something like this on a Word document or Google Doc. I think Word document is better, but that's okay if you have Google Docs. So what I did, I literally went to insert, and there's all these cool shapes, and I made, as you can see here, just started typing and brought arrows down. So I'll show you right here. So let's say home page is here, type that in. Now I want to insert what happens, what are the options after that. So I just went in here, created an arrow. This is what happens next. So if I want to continue on with that, I would just hit space, space, space. Okay, after the home page, they're gonna get an option to log in. You can easily just select it, hit Control-C, which is to copy it, or you can right-click it. You can copy it. And that way you don't have to go back into the insert shapes thing over and over again. So that's kind of just how I did it. Some people might be asking like, huh, okay, that seems fairly simple. It is. Let's say you want to change up the shapes. So like for instance, I use this to show a connection here. So you're just going to make sure it's a little bit harder to format than if I was just sketching it out. But some people just prefer it typed out than sketched out. So maybe a login, and then you can, you know, make it as like the scale that you might need. It doesn't have to be perfect. Some people are more particular than others. So then from there, I could write from the login. Once they log in, they're gonna go to their clothing homepage. Okay, so then once I did that, I just copied it and put it in the slide. But either way, definitely think about the user journey. You want to make sure that it's simple, not too many things on one screen, not too many actions when you're first brainstorming. Now, when you're looking at my actual first brainstorm, it's not that big, but there are examples of bigger user flow. And if you want to create that, go for it. I was just doing it as an example. If you want to add more things to this brainstorming, that is definitely up to you. So you're going to be creating that user flow decision tree, and that should take quite a while, and that's okay. Once you figure out what the user flow is going to look like, The next step is talking about brainstorming app features. So really thinking more about design, thinking more about design and what that might look like. Going back to wireframes and what that might look like on an iPhone or a tablet or a computer. Thinking about avoiding trendy elements. So you might be like, oh, I want to put this video in here. It's so cool. Or this GIF or GIF, or however you're supposed to say it. You want to add that in. It's really kind of a distraction when you're trying to create an app. So thinking about how many screens will you have? And also how many actions on each screen. I always suggest that when you are thinking of your prototype for today, less is more. So if we look at this crazy amount of touch points on a screen or a app, that's way too many spaces or links that you could be clicking on. So if we have more white space, that is definitely better. Thinking of great design is about taking away and simplifying. So if you think about, let's think about Facebook. Now Facebook has a lot of different features on it, but the format is pretty basic. Why do you think Facebook and Instagram and those other types of apps might have all that simplified format? It's really to benefit the user. The whole point is to ensure that people of any type of experience can utilize or use those type of platforms. So think about Facebook and how many older people on it, they could still access it regardless of their tech experience. And then obviously trying to make it less of, being complex, because simple can be challenging when you're making a prototype, and I think that is where the hardest part will be today. So we're still thinking about brainstorming our prototype. Keep in mind each screen should have a very specific purpose, and you want to keep it as simple, clean, and organized as possible. So too many choices can be confusing. Maybe limit to 1 or 2 choices on a page. I think that is best. And definitely thinking about what colors you should use. Where is navigation? So if I want to go back to the home page, do you have a button for that? What stays the same from page to page? Are you going to have the same kind of format? Is it going to be different? If it's going to be different, it's going to take a little bit longer to develop, and that's okay. But definitely remembering that easier it is, more simplified it is, the better.
I'm just nervous.
All right, another checkpoint. So we want to think about, why is user flow important? What is a persona? And should our screens or wireframes be complex or simple? And explain. User flow, I feel we really dug into it, but hopefully you decided to work on your decision trees and started realizing how much goes into user flow. So user flow goes back to those different screens, those different actions, those different functions that you might have on your app. So just remember, when you are making those, it's okay to erase, and maybe your final product doesn't look like that. That's okay. It's a way to make it simple, but also realizing how complex and how many different options you might have when you are looking at an app or creating an app. But it's really about making it simple for the user. What is a persona? We talked about this as well. So personas are basically profiles. And we looked at Joe as an example, what he liked, what he didn't like, what are some things that he might need in his life. And I think we got a good hold of understanding that personas really drive what app development might turn into. Knowing that we want to make our users' lives easier, definitely always wanting to make my life easier in finding different types of technology and apps that can help me with that. So should our screens or wireframes be complex or simple? I hope you understood this. If not, that's okay. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. Wireframes and screens should be simple. The more white space, the better. Like I said, think about friendly apps such as Instagram, Facebook, even Snapchat, and even TikTok. Like these types of apps are meant to be used by anyone, obviously for entertainment, informational purposes as well. Social marketing and media can be used in various forms, especially now when we're all using virtual programs, which can be very beneficial. So we want to ensure that our user is able to use our actual apps that we are creating. We don't want to make it difficult. We don't want them to have to read through a huge guidebook of how to use an app. We want them to be able to download the app and hopefully use it as much as possible. So what have we done? We defined user flow importance. We defined personas, we created user flow, and we brainstormed wireframes. So each student or each person will start to create screens using wireframes. So if you have that document that was from earlier, oh, you can't see me. Here I am. So if you have that document from earlier, maybe you downloaded it, maybe you didn't, that's okay. If you did download wireframes, here they are. You can download them as a picture and you can start, editing it. You could also edit it just straight on Foxit Reader, which is really nice. So if I wanted to type in right here, I can, I believe. Let's see. See? Awesome. That's even a lot easier than creating your own wireframes at home, but you can. So that might be something you might want to think about if you want to print these out, or if you want to just download it straight to your computer, you can access it that way. But I also just created these screens. So when I say screens, literally think about your phone. If I'm looking at my phone, there's going to be, different apps on it, or if I'm looking at my Instagram app, what pulls up on the first screen. So for me, I started thinking about, app features. There's going to be a title on the first page. There's going to be pictures here. Enter. Very, very simple, right? I don't want to have a lot of things on one screen. It gets the user very confused. Then I started drawing my next screen. So as you see here, this is where you might see products. So once I start entering, I can look at all the different products, scroll through. Remember my example was a clothing app. Yours might be different, and that's quite okay. And then my third screen that I started to develop was once I started to click on that one picture, it would pull up the product with the link and hopefully a picture. So obviously very simple of drawing out frames, wireframes for each screen. Now, I'm going to show you an example a little bit more intense. This is from obviously talking about this whole page would be an example of how they started brainstorming their wireframes. So if they hit continue watching, maybe their friends, there's like a bar there that might show them, maybe their favorites might show them. And then if you look on the right side here, it shows a little bit more about what is going to be on each wireframe here and what those little symbols mean. So Kristen said, this, or Megan said this. So it's giving you live stream, or the idea of adding this to Netflix, that your friends and family have rated this, or they reviewed it like this. I think this is a really good example, actually, to show you how they improved an app, or, a streamlined application like Netflix. And then this would then be able to be brought on in the prototype Marvel, which we're going to talk about in a second. And then this is an example of literally my drawn out version. So I have my drawn out version here. Just keep in mind when you do a prototype that each screen should have a very specific purpose. It's clean. You don't have too many choices. Obviously making it as easy as possible for the user. And I think I pretty much did that. I did this just as an example on Word. So I can show you that in a second. Here it is. So what I did, oh, where'd it go? Let me pull it up here. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Sorry about that. So this was my sketched version, and then I just made it in a Google Doc. You could do the same thing in Paint. You could do the same thing in, I'm sorry, not in Google Docs, it's in Word. And what I did is that I just inserted shapes, and I just made my own wireframes, my screens. Now you might get, your settings might be different, but mine was filled in. So I right-clicked it, and I didn't want to fill, so I got rid of the fill. No fill, right? So that would be another screen. Remember to copy. You can right-click and hit copy, or I really like short keys, meaning like using your keyboard. So I just hit Control-C, Control-V to paste, and I just move it right over, right? So if I wanted to add more screens here, I can. And as you can see, I put title, I just made another smaller box, right? So I just took this and made an example on Word doc, which you could easily do if you're working on a computer. All right, now we get to create our prototype. So we are going to be using Marvel. If you are not familiar with Marvel, that's quite okay. You can just go to Google and type in Marvel app, or you could type in this link right here, https://marvelapp.com. So I'm going to click on that so you can see what that looks like once I click on it. So when you open up Marvel, it should look like this. If it doesn't, it might not be the right thing. So when I am here, I can go to dashboard. It tells me all these different information, right? What I'm doing, so this is bringing me to dashboard, and that's because I already have an account. So if I want to log in, perhaps not to my account, create my own account. Type in a Marvel app here, sign in. If I'm a new user, which all of you might be, you want to sign up. I'm gonna ask you for a name, email address, a password, where do you work? You don't have to put that, that's just what they ask. And you're gonna create your free account. So once you go to create your free account, and before we do that, let's talk a little bit about common questions with Marvel. So what are prototypes? What are prototypes? I know you've probably heard of them, but you probably don't know what we're going to be doing today or using this prototype platform. So basically Marvel does a really great job of letting us use mockups and designs so we can interact with it, all without needing code, which is great. The end result of a prototype really feels like the real thing. It takes kind of a couple days or minutes, a couple minutes to produce, not days necessarily. It's the best way to work with a prototype, and it demonstrates the functionality of your idea before building it. So it gives people an idea of what you're thinking of, and they can actually visually see it. So that's great. So when you are creating your free account, I'm gonna try to see if I can show this side by side. Well, I'll just do it this way. So you're gonna click free create project button in the top right of your screen. I am gonna minimize this so you can see. So let me end slideshow here. Sorry about that. I want to make sure that you can see it side by side. Don't you love technology sometimes? I know we all do, but there we go. We just put this down right here. Beautiful. And just put that up right there. Okay, so that's there. And you hopefully know how to minimize. If not, no worries. You can see what I'm doing now on the screen. All right, I'm gonna put me up in the corner. Cool. So getting started, create free account, which we just did. The next step would be click the Create Project button. Boop. Once you create the Create Project button, you're going to select Prototype and enter your project name. For custom settings, choose Website or TV, and you can select Create Project. And I'm going to show you a little video of how this is. Since I have an account already, it's not going to let me show you that. So let me show you how it looks. Make sure my volume's all set here. There we go, there's the volume. Nope. All right, got the volume all set. Here we go.
Want to get a project up and running quickly with Marvel? Here's how to turn your designs into interactive prototypes that you can share with anyone. No coding required. So to start, click the Create Project button.
So Create Project button.
Then choose a device.
And you can name your project here, which is great. Or you can just put unnamed. You can rename it later.
Now we need to add some screens. No.
All right, so that's what your screen will look like right now, which is great. So you should be where you need to be. So next we're going to talk about how do you upload your sketch and your designs. I think it's important that some of you might have sketched it out. Some of you guys might have put it on your computer. So I'm going to show you different ways that you can upload your sketches, or how you can just use the Marvel app directly and, you know, model after your brainstorming paper or your computer brainstorming sheets that you might have. And you can upload photos and sketches using the app. So if you have a phone, definitely you can download the app. It's just Marvel app. It looks just like this. And that's way that you can take pictures of your sketch design and upload it directly to Marvel, or you can send an email to yourself and save it on your computer, or you can just do your own design using Marvel without actually uploading anything. So I'm going to show you a quick video of what that might look like.
No designs handy? You can create them inside Marvel by clicking Design.
So that's really important. In the top left-hand corner, you want to hit Design. That's how you're going to actually add your designs if you already have them.
This demo, though, we'll continue going with the drag and drop method.
So this is showing you that if you save this image to your computer from either taking a picture of your designs and uploading it via email, by email, that's totally cool. I can show you how to do that as well. Otherwise, there are other ways to get your sketches onto Marvel just by downloading the Marvel app. But let's continue on showing this example. If you did, or you were able to put your sketches, or maybe you have your document and you want to upload it, this is how you do that.
Simply drag and drop your designs from your desktop. Now, hover.
So yeah, they just insert it by dragging and dropping. I know they go really fast, so I want to make sure I stop and explain that.
Over a screen and click View.
So then when you actually upload something, you're going to hit View.
We're now in the editor view.
So yes, you'll be in the editor view, which means you can edit certain things, making transitions by touching something on that screen. Remember, this is going back to the wireframes that you created that you sketched out. So what I mean by that, if we go back, this could look like this. It could look like your drawing here, something like this. If you already have it designed on your computer, or if you saved it as a photo, you can upload it this way.
This is where we can make your designs come to life by linking them together.
So we're going to stop right there because I want to make sure we are able to put all our designs on our actual, for our projects. So if I'm going back to Marvel, and I go to view, now this is something that I've been working on. If I want to add images, that just means add screens. So I have, these are all my different screens that I have. This was something that I was working on. So if I want to edit this design, I just click edit design. So this is going to pull up one of my screens, one of my wire, where I'm trying to put my wireframes on. So I have, this is something amazing. I obviously made the font too big. So I can go in, go to the right side, change the font. It's at 100 right now. Let's do a little bit smaller. Let's do 85. Beautiful. Then I can move this around as I need it. So when I was talking about you don't have to upload anything, that's what I was talking about here. So let's say you want to include a stock photo of, well, my app is a clothing app. Let's do a jacket. Cool, they have a lot of different jackets actually. So I'm gonna add this. I wanna give variety. I'm gonna add another one. Because remember, oh, these are big. So what I have to do is go in and I can drag it, make it smaller. Let's add a different one. Let's add a winter one just in case. So yeah, the stock photos that come with the app are actually pretty cool, that you can just type something in and find something that might work. Now, let's say you have your pictures. This is me creating my own app using the Marvel items that are in here. If I want to, let's say, insert, oh, can't see here, let's go to, like I said, let's say I want to insert something, I can go upload from my computer. Maybe there's something I want to add. I don't know why I would want to add my headshot in there. But let's say I want to put something that's already saved on my computer and it will just upload it directly. So if you were to take a picture of your sketches or something that you already made and you send it to yourself via on an email, and you can save it to your computer, then you can just upload it directly. So there would be nothing here. It would just be your sketches, which is great because it's already made. Otherwise, a lot of people just go in and make their own design. So this is the design of the screen. It's not going to do anything because I haven't linked anything. So we're going to go over that in a second here. So if you close this out, everything will automatically save, which is great. I have my images here, untitled. Here, let's move this section down. So this shows you the other images that I've used or created. So how do we link? That's the next thing we're going to talk about. How to link screens with hotspots. So this essentially means how do you get your app to do stuff? So I'm going to go into my design here. So it says hover over the first screen of your project and hit prototype. Now on your screen, you can click and drag over the area you would like to link to another screen. So let's say I've already done it a couple times, but let's say I want to link this to something. So once I click and drag, it'll pull up where do I want it to go. So it's basically a hotspot destination. Where is it going to go? So I want, when you click on this, let's say I want it to go to this new screen that I just made, right? So what I can do then, I can actually change the transition. And I think that is the best way to make it more realistic. I can make it fade, I can make it push left, I can make it push right, slide left, slide right, so on and so on. I'm gonna do fade. Now the action, you can stay on the target. We're just gonna click our tap. So that means action-wise, like what is your user doing? Do they have to swipe up? Do they swipe left? They can just click on this, okay? And it should be linked now. Now, let's say you wanna see if this is actually right. Like, does this actually go to that location? We're gonna hit play because it's like we're playing our prototype to see if it's actually working. So I hit play. And it's loading. Ooh, isn't that look cool? Oh my gosh, it's like my own app. Okay, anyways, so I just hyperlinked this. Now, if I did it correctly, it should go to that screen that I made with the new jackets. So let's see. And it does. Now, the problem with this is I did not make a back button. So literally, there's nothing hyperlinked here. So what do you think I should do? I think I need to make a back button or make another hotspot in here. But I did check to see if it worked. So I can go back to menu. I can go left, which brings me back to the beginning. Let's see if I go right. Oh, and it goes back to my other one. So luckily, this one I know goes to the home screen. So I'm going to go back to that. So yeah, that's how you link screens with hotspots. You can add transitions. You can click play to see if it actually worked. But let's say you want to go back home. You can click on the menu. You can edit your project. So let's do that. I don't want to leave a comment. So let's go to the start. Image 1, view all screens, test. All right, so this was our test. So your app should still, or your prototype should still be the first tab that you had. So we're done with this. Awesome, I'm gonna hit done. Cool. Now remember, I said I had to fix this, right? So I'm gonna go to edit design. So I'm gonna add a button. It's already green, cool. We'll just put it, no, put it in the corner. So this is just shapes. If you don't like it, let's just delete it. All you do is hit backspace and it will delete. This is just drawing a line. I don't want that, so I'll just delete it. Oh, this is really cool. So this is something else that you can add on as a part of your design. So oftentimes when you are on a phone, they have, or an app on the phone, you have these different buttons that you can press, so they give you options. So you can add stuff like that, which I think is pretty dope. Right? So instead of having one button, you have multiple functions on the bottom. So if you want to scroll through this, definitely do that. You can see, you can add in headlines, you can add in image placeholders. So let's say you don't have an image, so you can just add that in there. Oh, they have a back button, even better. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to add this guy. Oh, he's so tiny. Okay. But you can play around with it and kind of make it yours, which I think is a lot of fun. You can add a keyboard into whatever function you might want to do. But you can scroll through and see a lot of different cool features. What's this? Let's see. Oh, so you can add elements of your library. So we can search team library if you are making an app with like multiple people. Maybe they put in this company library for you. That'd be cool. You can also search by design. So maybe these functions are more common on an Android versus an iPhone, or maybe you're making a app for an iPad. So it's just going to change a little bit, like the size of your screen. It might change the format of it a little bit, but essentially they're all pretty much the same. So I'm going to X this out. Oh, this is important. So this is really tiny on my screen. So I'm going to zoom in. Haha, beautiful. So I have my back button. So what do I need to do now? Well, let's close this out and it will save. If you remember, I just went into Edit Design. And to make sure that my screens link, I have to create a hotspot. So I'm going to go to Prototype, just like the directions say. Now, on your design, click and drag over the area you want to create a hotspot. Bam, back. So I want to make that back button go back to the home page. And I'm going to screen transition it to fade. The action is still going to be click or tap. And now I'm going to hit done. All right, so now I can go to Prototype and see if that button actually worked. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to go to Prototype, hit play. Now if I hit the back button, oh, it's really tiny. Ta-da! Success! So if you want to see my whole app that I did, I'll show you right now. So I'm going to go to my prototype. I'm going to hit play. So I did a couple of my screens. I didn't do them all, and they aren't exactly the same as my brainstorming. But let's see. I want to click on some of these. Can I click on these? Nope. But that has a hyperlink. This goes back to products. I can click on this sweatshirt, which will go here. And then if I go to the home screen, I can click here. Pretty cool, right? But you can play around with it and really make it yours, which I think is a lot of fun. So how do you change the background color of your prototypes? These are just common questions I get, and I think it's important to go over. So let's go to prototype on any project. Click the settings gear. I think it's in the corner here, but I can't see it. So you actually have to go to the home screen and go in the top right-hand corner, which you'll see this gear icon, which is right here. When you click on that, you're going to click on background color, which is right here. So I can change the background color. Let's make it pretty purple. Yay! So you're going to select the background color for the entire screen. And this gives you other ways that you can kind of go with your project settings. So let's see if it worked. It did not work. So let's go back in the settings. Maybe we just save it. So since that didn't really work, even though I followed the directions, which is okay, we're going to go to Edit Design so I can show you how to change the background a different way. So what I did, I just picked one of these little green boxes. And you can line it up with the screen, make it as big as you want, and then you can change the color. I actually think that's easier instead of just having one screen or all the same color on every screen. So I think that's fine as well. So if we close that, the image will be purple, which I wanted, yay. So, you know, some of these things, they're a little finicky and that's okay, but pretty much you get the different ways of how to link screens, how to change the background, how to upload your sketch designs to the prototype. If you are on the Marvel app, it is really easy just to take a picture with your phone of your sketches and just upload it directly, which is awesome. So if you didn't understand that completely, we can go back to our video here, which is just a faster way of what we already did.
Drag over the image to make a hotspot.
Which we've done.
Now choose a hotspot destination.
Now they're going to show you how to choose the hotspot destination.
From the selector pop-up. Finish the interaction by choosing a transition. This will help make your screen move. Okay, now just repeat these steps for the rest of your screens. When finished, head back to the project by clicking Done and hit play to see what you've created. This is where we can test the hotspots on our screens. Click the blue hotspots to see the prototype move.
So once again,
Looking
this
good.
is just showing you the different hotspots and what different screens you can use.
Now let's share it. Return to Project View in the other tab.
So this is going to show you how you can share your prototype once it is done.
Go to Share, click Email and SMS.
So you're going to click,
Then simply enter your contact details.
you're going to click Email and then SMS. And that way you will, you can email it, you can send it via phone number, which is cool.
And over on the recipient screen, they will receive a link. And they can play back your creation. So there you have it. A living, breathing prototype in no time. Made to look and feel like the real thing.
So yeah, that just showed you a fast way of doing it, but I think it's really beneficial to break these things down in a slower pace, especially. So I do want to show you some student examples of this versus just my own. And some of these are really creative. So when I click on that app, or that link, this was an app that was designed on softball. So they actually sketched it out first, and then they took a picture of it and uploaded it on Marvel app, which is cool. So they hyperlinked start and made it a hotspot. So then this is to basically tell, like, this is what the next page would be when they hit that, which would be sign up, their first name, how old are they? When you hit done, the next things would be things that you can work on. I think this is really cool. The fact that you can get an app that helps you become a better softball player. Really unique, right? So let's say I click on outfield. I want to work on center field, and then it can give me videos or pictures, pop-ups. So let's see what happens when I hit pop-ups. Cool. Huh. So yeah, this is obviously more in-depth than what I made. So that was really cool. Maybe you have something similar. And then let's look at this app. So once again, that first app was an example of uploading sketches either on your computer as a picture and then adding it on to your Marvel app on the computer, Marvel app on the computer. And you can also do it uploading it on your phone as well. This is the same example. They did the wireframing. So if I, soccer for cash out points. So you can earn money through this. And they hyperlinked a couple things. So this is a thing we want to make sure that we don't do is leaving your user stuck, right? You want to make sure that every screen has a hotspot that it can go somewhere else. All right, so I do want to review a little bit about what we did today. So I think it's important to realize that we learned a lot, and you can do a lot of different things using Marvel especially, but it's important to understand that when you are making a mobile app, that you want to make sure that you are understanding brainstorming comes with a process. Your first sketching of wireframes in that low fidelity format may not be perfect, and that's quite okay. We want to make sure that you understand that it's about the user journey. It's not just about your own preference, right? You want to make sure that you are tailoring your app to the people that you want to use it, right? And we had some hiccups here and there today, but that just shows you that it's okay to make mistakes and you learn from those mistakes. So just the one last thing is when you are making your prototype, I would love to see them. If you want to share them with us, that'd be awesome. See what you guys came up with. Remember to write out and sketch out everything that you can think of. The more brainstorming you do, the better your app is. So with that in mind, I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening to me today and being patient with me today. And definitely check out the rest of our TechGirlz programs as we go virtual. We have virtual workshops for 5th through 8th grade girls anywhere that can be accessed online. Just need parent guardian permission. So definitely check it out at techgirlz.org in our events page. And then also we are doing instructional webinars. So definitely look out for this. This is for anyone to learn these programs that we teach for middle school girls, but also, you know, this is how I learned technology and it's pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie, but just keep that in mind. If you wanna sign up for our newsletter, definitely check us out at techgirlz.org. Like I said, if you're interested in volunteering, I am the Chicagoland Outreach, but we have outreach in different areas. But what's really great about us is that we can go anywhere and everywhere. So regardless of experience, if you're interested in volunteering with us, we'd love to talk. You can always email us at info@techgirlz.org. All right, thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.